All right, let's talk about how we use AI. Because today, we're going to flip the script on the way you probably think about it. It's time to stop using just one tool for everything and start building a smart, specialized AI stack that actually gets the job done right.
So let me kick things off with a statement that might, poke the bear a little bit. Here it is. If you only use one AI, you are using AI wrong. The pros use 3. The real pros use 5. Now, this isn't about being an elitist. It's about being way, way more effective.
Here's the best way to picture it. Using just one AI for every single task is like trying to run your entire kitchen with just one big chef's knife. I mean, sure, you could try to slice bread, fillet a fish, and chop tiny little herbs with it, but you know it's not going to work great, right? You'd get much better results, and it'd be a lot easier if you just use the right knife for the job. AI is exactly the same.
And that really gets to the heart of the matter for anyone using AI today. One tool just isn't enough anymore. That old way of thinking where you pick one piece of software and stick with it for life, that model is broken.
Think about it. For decades, technology has kind of trained us to pick a team, right? You were either a Windows person or a Mac person, iPhone or Android. You had to choose a side. But AI, it just doesn't work that way. The new mindset isn't either or, it's and also. It's all about building a team of specialists and using the right tool for the right job at the right time.
And here's why this is so important. If you're just sticking to one AI, you are at best getting maybe 60% of what's actually possible. Seriously, that means you're leaving a massive 40% of potential power, insight, and creativity just sitting on the table.
So what's the solution? How do we fix this? It all starts with building your core AI toolbox. This is your foundational 3-tool stack that is going to immediately level up everything you do. So your core stack, your starting lineup, really just needs these 3 heavy hitters. First up, you've got Claude. Think of Claude as your deep thinker and your writer. It's got this huge memory, which makes it amazing for digging through and making sense of really long documents. Next, there's ChatGPT. That's your go-to for quick, real-time research from the internet or for whipping up an image in seconds. And finally, you have Gemini. Gemini is plugged right into the whole Google world, so it's an absolute beast for things like summarizing a YouTube video or finding something buried in your Gmail or Google Docs. Each one is a specialist.
Okay, so once you get that core trio down and you're feeling good, you might be ready to level up. For those of you who really want to push the boundaries, it's time for the professionals upgrade.
The Pro Stack adds 2 more absolute powerhouses. You've got Perplexity, which is basically an AI built specifically for research. The best part? It actually tells you where it got its information, citing its sources, which is a huge deal. And then there's Notebook LM. This thing is a game changer for digging into your own files. Think about feeding it all of your medical records, or a huge legal contract, or all your notes from a class. It helps you learn from your own information. It's incredibly powerful.
Okay, I know what you're probably thinking right about now. Whoa, this is a lot. I don't have time to learn 5 different programs. Isn't this just going to be way too complicated? And you know what? That's a totally fair question. But the answer is probably not what you think.
Let's just break it down. How do you actually use any of these AIs? 1. You type your question into a box. 2. You read the answer. That's it. The basic interface is pretty much identical for all of them. The learning curve to add a new one is practically 0. If you can use one, I promise you can use all of them.
And that changes everything, doesn't it? This isn't about learning 5 different pieces of software. It's about building your own personal board of advisors. You're assembling a team. And each advisor brings a totally different skill set to the table, a different way of looking at your problem. One of them is always going to catch something the others missed.
All right, enough with the theory. Let's see how this whole stack idea actually plays out in the real world with a real problem. Let's put it to work.
So, a friend of mine recently had this classic homeowner nightmare, right? The big, scary, expensive question, should I replace my entire HVAC system? She had a quote, she had a lot of confusing information, and she didn't know what to do. So instead of asking one AI, she asked her whole team.
And this is where the magic of the stack just shines. First, she asked ChatGPT, and it gave her a pretty good, solid, balanced overview. Then she asked Claude, the deep thinker. Claude came back with a super detailed breakdown and a killer list of sharp, specific questions to ask the contractor. But here's the kicker. Gemini delivered the knockout punch. She asked it to look at her email exchange with the contractor, and it found a pricing discrepancy, a mistake in the quote that she had completely missed. Each tool gave her a vital, unique piece of the puzzle.
So, what's next for you?
How do you actually put this into practice? Well, the best way to really get it is to just try it. I've got a really simple experiment that you can run like right now.
Here's your assignment, and it's super simple. First, just think of the most important question or problem you've been chewing on for the past month. Got it? Okay, now open up 3 tabs in your browser, one for Claude, one for ChatGPT, and one for Gemini. Ask each one of them that exact same question, and then just sit back and compare the 3 answers. I guarantee you'll immediately start to see their different personalities, their different strengths.
And when you're done, just ask yourself one final thing. Which one of them gave you the best answer? And more importantly, why? Because when you start to understand that why, that's when you stop just using an AI and you start mastering your stack.